All right, everybody, good evening. Time to wrap up our look at Pro Football Focus grades. We did the offense earlier. Now we're taking a look at the defense, which, I don't think I need to tell you guys. The defense was the side of the ball that kind of stole the show. The defense was the side of the ball that propelled the Seahawks to a victory. So, going to have a little bit more to talk about here, I'd say. So, a lot of good things to talk about, although I will say I think Pro Football Focus may have shorted us a little bit. I think that Pro Football Focus may have, how should I put this? They may have undersold how dominant a defensive performance this was, and I think that the math is not mathing overall, personally, but let's go through it. Let's talk about it. So, first, let me reiterate, I'm not saying that Pro Football Focus always gets it right, nor am I saying they always get it wrong. We're just looking at what they have. And second of all, if you like this video, please click the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you're new. Click the bell for notifications. Become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to help support the channel. Excuse me. So, let's just go ahead and dive right in here. We're going to start with the overall defensive grades, and then we're going to move to the more narrow aspects. And nobody should be surprised who is number one on the defense this week. Leonard Williams with the 87. There really isn't much else to say other than he was the most dominant player on the field for the Seahawks, and that he probably should be graded higher than this. This is probably underselling it a little bit. So I look at this and I go, yeah, it's good, but with how destructive he was, I'd say he was probably even better. So Leonard Williams, we'll talk about pass rush stuff a little bit later, but I'll tell you right now, they credited him with 7 quarterback pressures in this game. So you do that, you're definitely gonna get the nod as doing something very clearly correctly. And again, the way that he played, I feel like he should have been in the 90s. I've seen players get in the 90s before. Don't know why Leonard Williams wouldn't. So, personally, they gave him the highest grade in this game, which he obviously deserves. I think it probably should have been a little bit higher. Jonathan Hankins comes in second place, so it's been a while since we've been able to give him any positive press. 85.9, almost as good as Williams. Now, he only played 12 snaps, I get it. It's not like he had a massive role in this game, but these were your two far and away highest graded defensive players. So, Hankins, we certainly stopped the run at an elite level in this game. So, I can't disagree with it, even though I might question the... It seems a little audacious to say that Leonard Williams and Jonathan Hankins played about an equally good game, right? That doesn't line up with anything that I saw yesterday. Ernest Jones graded out very well, as you would expect, given the way we stopped the run, given how well he tackled, given how good he's been since he got here. There really isn't too much else to say other than Ernest Jones is grinding out there. He didn't miss any tackles. Julian Love also graded out well. 71.1, really good tackling grade, good coverage grade, pretty good all-around game. He doesn't stand out the way some of these other guys do, but he was good. And Tyrese Knight. So you've got a pretty nice foundation here of players like Tyrese Knight, good tackler, good run defender. They did give him 1 missed tackle, but run defense, good grade. Pass rush grade, good. He had his first career sack. Coverage was tolerable. So that's your top 5, but you might notice after that top 5, you kind of fall off a cliff here. You get to Tyrese Knight, and then you go down to Witherspoon, who was barely above average, which, I know he missed a tackle in this game. I know he gave up some stuff in coverage, but I definitely did not come away from that game yesterday feeling like Devin Witherspoon played a slightly above average game. So, I gotta be perfectly honest. I'm looking at this, and I'm going, that doesn't match up with what I saw. That doesn't seem right to me. And then, after Witherspoon, you go down to a bunch of guys who were average or bad. Does this look like the PFF grades of a team that allowed 6 points and less than 300 yards? I don't think so. This doesn't look anything like a team that shut down a competent, quality Arizona Cardinals offense yesterday. This looks like a defense that gave up 30-plus points. And I understand that the sum being greater than, the whole being greater than the sum of their parts, but I look at this and I go, I think we got shortchanged somewhere. I mean, Kobe Bryant scored a touchdown in this game, gave up one reception, and they gave him a bad grade. I don't know. I know he missed one tackle in this game, right? That's probably part of what they're looking at here, but how does that match up with reality? I don't think that it does. Like, Byron Murphy got about an average grade, and okay, I guess I can kind of see that. He didn't have a huge impact in this game, but are you suggesting that he did a bunch of stuff in this game that was bad? I don't think you can find that. Boye Mafe and Derek Hall, below average, doesn't line up to me. Draymond Jones, he continues to get pressure after pressure after pressure on these quarterbacks. He missed one tackle in this game. Are we really going to completely massacre his grade because of that? Josh Joby, 40, because he missed one tackle? Okay, I get it. He's not a good tackler. He had more missed tackles than made tackles in this game. Same for Rayshon Jenkins, and look, I'll give you a little bit of it. Rayshon Jenkins, maybe he deserves to be down there, because he missed 3 tackles in this game, and you could maybe point to him and say, like, that guy was kind of a mess out there. That guy was bad. Okay. But this is not... This does not jive with a defense giving up 6 points in less than 300 yards. It doesn't. Derek Hall had 4 quarterback pressures off the edge in this game. I know he didn't get any sacks, but to me, that's not a player that deserves a 53.3, especially when the other team does nothing on the ground. Same for Boye Mafe. Boye Mafe picks up a sack. He doesn't miss a tackle. Like, I don't know. This one sticks with me a little bit because when the Seahawks defense has a great game, typically it's reflected fairly well in the individual gradings. Like, everybody except for a few players gets a really high score. But I'm even looking at some of the role players that only played a little bit in this game, like Roy Robertson Harris. I thought he played fine. PFF doesn't bite. Reek Woolen, I mean, he missed one tackle. He gave up one big play in coverage. Okay, I can kind of sort of get grading him a little bit lower. I don't know if I'd grade him all the way down here. So, I don't know. The implication here is that it was all because of the Cardinals just being bad, right? The only way you could have this grading in a game where your defense gave up 6 points and less than 300 yards is if it's all because of the incompetence of the other team and you did nothing to earn it. And I don't think that's true. I will admit that the missed tackles are troublesome, right? Rayshon is the big culprit with 3, which makes sense. It's his first game back. Joby had a missed tackle. Reed had a missed tackle. Draymond, Woolen, Kobe had one. Witherspoon had one. Knight had one. Okay, maybe that's not so great. Maybe we don't like that, but this still doesn't... I'm not buying it. All right, so run defense grades. We're not really going to spend a lot of time here because there's nothing to look at because the Cardinals basically didn't run the ball. So Leonard Williams actually led the way with 2 run stops. Nobody else had more than 1. Like, Ernest Jones had 1 tackle this whole game and 0 run stops against the run. 0 run stops for Ernest Jones. And what else can you say other than the Cardinals just didn't run the ball? They just stopped running the ball at some point. And they didn't necessarily need to. That was probably an oversight on their part, I'll admit that. But you're not going to learn a lot when the other team doesn't run the ball and you're looking at run defense grades. Pass rush stuff, we already touched on this a little bit, but Leonard Williams with 7 pressures. I mean, that's some pretty monstrous stuff. That's game-wrecking type stuff. That's unblockable. He almost had 3 sacks in this game. He had 2.5 as it is. You had the blitz sack from Tyrese Knight. You had the Hankins pressure, and he doesn't get many opportunities to do that stuff. Derek Hall, 4 pressures. Draymond Jones, 4 pressures. Jaron Reed. Boye Mafe with 2 pressures, including a sack. Pretty good. Murphy had a pressure. So, we still haven't seen the Ernest Jones pass rush impact yet, I will admit. That's a little bit frustrating. because Ernest Jones, one of the things that you could say about him when he got here was he's one of the best blitzing linebackers in the league. We haven't really seen that yet, but other than that, I mean, 22 pressures in one game against a team that really has a pretty good offensive line. That Cardinals offensive line is pretty good. You're going to be very, very happy with that, I think. So the pass rush stuff is money. If we can play like this every game, we're not going to have much of a problem winning games and looking really good and maybe even going into the playoffs on a hot streak. So, good stuff. Coverage, real quick here. You can see that it was spread out. The only guy who really got murked in this game would be Woolen. Woolen gave up about 80 yards. Now, most of it was on one big play, I guess, or a lot of it was on one big play, but still not a good game overall. And I'll say it again. Riq Woolen needs to be almost perfect in coverage to make up for his shortcomings in other areas, and this is not perfect. This is not going to earn him that big contract in the offseason. This is not going to earn him any kind of contract in the offseason. I mean, if we're noticing this stuff, I'm sure Mike McDonald, who really wants his cornerbacks to be able to tackle, is noticing this as well. So, Woolen is maybe the one guy who comes out of this game looking really bad. Tyrese Knight, maybe, right? He gave up about 50 yards. We got to remember, we're playing against Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends in the league. He's going to get his yards, and he certainly got his yards yesterday, but nobody else did, so am I really going to be mad that we didn't hold the Cardinals under 200 yards of offense? No. Somebody's going to get something at some point. That's how football works. And Witherspoon did give up the 44 yards, I guess, but it really wasn't anything all that bad. He made a play on the ball. That amazing play on the pick six was just, can't say enough. So even that, I'm really hesitant to say is all that big of a deal. And then it's just little bits here and there, like Ernest Jones, 29 yards, Julian Love, 27 yards. I can live with it. We got Kobe Bryant. And again, I got to ask, like, Kobe Bryant gets targeted twice in this game, gives up 7 yards, and he has a pick six on his other target. 58.3. Look, I don't want to pretend like there aren't 42 other plays in this game where he's in coverage and maybe something bad is happening where he just doesn't get targeted, but that doesn't really line up with just common sense, right? When the Arizona Cardinals targeted Kobe Bryant in this game, they gained a total of 7 yards and threw a pick six. How is that not like something that you're looking at and feeling really, really amazing about? And Boye Mafe, I guess he gave up the 15-yard completion. I think it was like a screen of some kind. And he gets absolutely murked in his grade for that one, which, okay, whatever. I mean, it's one play at the end of the day, right? He drops into coverage twice in this game. Rayshon, 1 target, 5 yards. Joby, he got beat up a little bit, I guess, 35 yards. Why are we having Josh Joby cover Marvin Harrison Jr., by the way? You don't need to do that, ever. Josh Joby should never be covering Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't really put that on him. I put that on whoever it was who gave him that responsibility. But, I mean, overall, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Not unhappy with these numbers. Again, the one guy who really got beat up in this game, I think, would be Riq Woolen. So, okay. We're looking fairly decent here. And that's your defense. That's basically a rundown of what is going on defensively. Special teams, really not much to shout out. I mean, here they are. Derek Young and Drake Thomas and Trey Brown were your best graded guys. Jake Bobo finally had a good special teams grade. Had some guys down at the bottom, including Jarek Reed, which, the Jarek Reed thing, we need him to get back on the horse. He's really good on special teams. He was really good last year. We need him to be the ace. We don't need him to be at the bottom of this list. I don't like that. But not too much else to say here. Nothing really remarkable. Nothing really terrible. Just another normal game for special teams. Dixon had a good game punting anyway. And Jason Myers made his field goals. He did miss an extra point, but we ended up not needing it, I guess. And that's it. That's all we got. So let me know what you guys think down below. See you guys later. Go Hawks, and everybody have a good evening.